everyone, it's nice to be back talking to you again. But as I say good morning, I realise that some of you are probably watching this in the afternoon. Some of you even may be watching it as you doze off to sleep at night, but never mind. I'm talking to you today about Elizabeth of Hungary, or Elizabeth of Thuringia. Well, Elizabeth was the daughter of the King of Hungary and was born there in the year 1207, but she was actually brought up for most of her life in Thuringia, what was then the Kingdom of Thuringia and is now a province of Germany. It's the province immediately north of that huge influential province of Bavaria in the south. Well, she married the King of Thuringia, and with him they had 3 children. It was a very happy family time together, and moreover she was able to use her vast wealth to help the poor, which had always been very much part of her nature. But 6 years into married life and disaster struck. Her husband died of the plague while taking part in a crusade which was organised by Elizabeth's father, the King of Hungary. Well, she was immediately driven from the palace by his successors, and she went to live in a place called Marburg, again in Thuringia, placing herself under the spiritual guidance of a well-known Franciscan at the time called Conrad of Marburg. He'd been her confessor for a number of years. Well, he guided her to make arrangements for the upbringing of her children and then to join the Third Order of St. Francis. Now that's a branch of the Franciscan order for lay people who follow what is possible for lay people to follow in the rule and to live, of course, by its principles. So from then on, she devoted herself to hospital work, serving the poor, and giving particular attention to the conditions for orphans. Under Conrad's direction, she lived a very, very, very austere life. So much so that the excessive hardships that he insisted on must have contributed to her early death at the age of about 24, 25. Immediately on her death, she was acclaimed as a saint by the people, and that was confirmed only a few years later by her canonization in 1235. Well, Conrad's severity as a director has come in for very much harsh criticism, and he would demand very severe practices and punish her for the slightest infringement, even inflicting physical pain. I don't think there are any manuals for spiritual guides advising that sort of treatment, and today his methods would be more likely to end up on the desk of a safeguarding officer. A modern director would, I feel sure, have guided her to give her first attention to her own children, rather than organise alternative arrangements for their upbringing. But we have to remember, though, that in those days the children of kings and queens were very often, in fact usually, brought up by nannies and tutors. Well, the loss of her husband, when they were so happy together, was an enormous blow, and it reminds us of the similar position that some people have found themselves in today. In our pandemic, it's usually been the elderly who, after a long life, have suffered the losses. But there have been many younger wives and husbands who have found themselves in Elizabeth's position, and we commend them to her caring intercession. But above all, with the people of the German province of Thuringia and those of Hungary, we venerate her as an example of dedication to the poor, and commend to her intercession all those worldwide who work in the field of national and international relief. thank you all very much, and goodbye until we meet again.